Cell transport is the movement of particles or molecules across the cell membrane. Osmosis, in particular, is the movement of water molecules across the membrane. In this particular diagram, you see that water moves from an area of high concentration to an area of low concentration. In these examples, you can see there is isotonic, hypotonic, and hypertonic. In an isotonic solution, that means that there is an equal concentration of water outside the cell and inside the cell. So if we have 75% water outside the cell, then there is 75% water inside the cell. The water will both move into the cell and out of the cell in an equal concentration. Therefore, there is no change in an isotonic cell. In a hypotonic cell, there is a higher concentration of water outside the cell than inside the cell. So in this solution, there is 100% water, or pure water, outside the cell. There is 75% water inside the cell. Therefore, the water will move into the cell. Because of that, you will see that the cell swells. If you notice the difference between the cell here and the cell here, this cell is larger or more massive because it has taken on more water. In this last example, hypertonic means that the water concentration outside of the cell is lower than the water concentration inside of the cell. Therefore, the water will move out of the cell into the solution outside, because water moves from an area of high concentration to an area of low concentration. Therefore, the cell inside will shrink. You'll see that the cell becomes smaller because it is losing water. Therefore, it has less mass. In an example here, you see that inside of this cell, there is 65% water. Outside of the cell, there's 35% water. Water is moving from an area of high concentration to an area of low concentration. If there is 65% water salt inside this cell, that means that there is 35% water inside the cell and 35% water outside the cell. Therefore, this is an isotonic solution. There is no movement of water. In this solution, you see that there is 75% salt outside of the cell and 45% salt inside of the cell. In a salt solution such as this, the water is going to move from an area of low salt concentration to an area of high salt concentration. Because inside of the cell, if it is 45% salt, then it means it is 55% water. And outside of the cell here, if it is 75% salt, it is 25% water. So it's moving from low salt to high salt. It's actually moving from high water here to a low water concentration here. This means that the cell is going to shrink, and it is a hypertonic solution. In summary, there are isotonic, hypotonic, and hypertonic solutions. In isotonic, there is no change. In hypotonic, the cell will swell and eventually burst, meaning the cell becomes more massive. And in hypertonic, the water moves outside of the cell, therefore the cell will shrink and become less massive.